collect. We see them in the imagery, but have been very challenging to collect throughout the express cruise. I think we might have a few tiny pieces, not from here. So it was fantastic that this morning they happened to find one on a rock and just, yeah, get a really good sample. We're seeing, so this bright yellow sponge is mycale, and it's incredibly polymorphic. You get stalked forms, sometimes it grows in big plates or whorls, sometimes vases, sometimes
so
something you notice when
is everything we're seeing here that's yellow despite the shape of mycale?
Well, I wouldn't be sure. So we've just gone over a much thicker kind of plate that's also yellow.
Yes.
And we took a sample of that earlier because yeah, the texture looks a little bit different to me. So I think that might be something different. And then this big puffball, the big globular sponge coming up, there's two. So there's one on the right that's kind of darker brown that looks like possibly what we just collected. And then there's a big white one, which I think they collected on the 12 to 4 watch too. Which is, I think, a different type of demo sponge. I think we're getting quite close to having representative samples of at least the most abundant sponges that we're going to be seeing on the transects.
Super. And how far have we gone since the last transect, Nav?
We have gone,
I should say.
Yeah, let's zoom in.
We've gone about 70 meters.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's come wide. Yeah.
And Paul, if you want to swing around a little bit to the northeast, 343. Although I know that current's pushing you. Do you find it's better at an angle than head on?
I think we're also at the tether limits.
You need to go that way.
We're going that way. Bridge, Nav? .20 meters, 034. That'll help.
Just thinking, if we do see some more urchins, we could collect some and put some in with one of the floatier sponges too, perhaps.
Yep, we can do that. The goal was 4 to 5, and we had collected 2 on a previous watch, so I have room for 2 or 3.
Okay, I'm seeing a few here. If we wanted to.
Are we collecting?
No, just looking.
Window shopping, so
All right,
to say.
Al, let's zoom in. Oh,
yeah. Wow, that's an incredible base.
All right, let's come wide.
So a lot of sponges will have different types of spicules at their base where they form that attachment, and sometimes that can also be quite diagnostic as during the kind of identification process.
I'm stepping off comms just for a second. Be right back.
Roger. Al.
We're still at the tether limits here, pretty much.
Yeah, you just got to hightail it over to Argus.
Yeah.
Oh, we have the back row view now. See the new studio.
Oh, are you looking at channel 3?
Mm-hmm. I've got the quad view up at the minute.
Ah,
I think you just gotta zip ahead now. Like,
Yeah.
Right in there.
yeah, for those watching in from the public, the quad view channel 4 has 4 windows, one of which is a map that shows our location relative to land and the Channel Islands, and the route that Nautilus has taken over the last several days from up north. I can't remember the exact timeline, but they moved south, I think on Sunday, was it? Due to rough weather in the Monterey
very
Bay
end of
area.
new
Where
line?
they,
034.
Okay.
Negative. We are just making short steps and looking around. Roger.
All right, I'll zip
You're gonna
around.
go right under, so.
Yeah.
We're exploring a deeper section of footprint reef, which we've not surveyed by ROV before. It's an area where we have some model predictions of high sponge and coral densities. As you can see, we're
All right, Al,
looks
can we
to
get a
be
quick
true.
zoom?
Yeah.
Wow.
so this is the heterocone / pinulasma question mark. Absolutely beautiful.
So
These particular
intricate.
sponges
All right, let's
have a
combine.
glass skeleton that's fused together. So unlike most of the sponges we're seeing, when they die, the skeleton remains intact. So if you see something that looks similar but is covered in sediment and dark brown,
Actually,
that's the skeleton of one of
there's a new
these.
sponge down below that I don't think we've seen yet, just out of frame. It looked like the
Ooh.
fuzzy barrel sponge that we've seen. I don't know if we go down a little bit more.
And the ship's holding position if we want to stop here.
Here. I know we saw that further north.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there's a lot of sponges that look quite similar to this, and again, you kind of use the spicules to tell them apart. So they're showing up in brown because they're catching the sediment.
Okay, let's zoom in. Oh.
Thank you. It's good to get a zoom.
Okay.
The few looks like it might even be hydroids growing on the outside of that one.
You can go in a little bit further.
Yeah, I was just wondering about that. Yeah.
And all of these coloured sponges that go like the white and pale yellow sponges that we're seeing on here seem to be growing on the dead skeleton of another sponge. So here you can see these spicules are so big, you don't need a microscope to see them. They're like needles.
That's
I always find it quite incredible that when we make glass, we kind of have to use incredibly high temperatures, whereas sponges can.
all right. Let's come right out. Do we want to keep exploring?
Yes, please.
All right.
That would not be a slurpable one. But
I think we have
nice
another,
get a good zoom.
probably another 15 meters, I'm guessing, till we could start another transect maybe.
Mm-hmm. The other thing I was thinking of, Di, some of these are so beautiful, like these heterocones.
Oh, a 3D?
Reflection.
Yeah.
Just tilt down and reframe the.
Yeah, for a
I might
transit.
ask,
Is this all the way out? Yeah. Okay.
For a transect, we're about 10 meters off.
Okay. What do you think, Abby? Should we do a pass over this grouping right here?
I'm gonna ask on the science chat because I think whether this would
Yeah.
be a candidate for doing one of those 3D models.
Oh,
Um,
stand by,
I'll
RV.
stop.
sorry. I
No, no
didn't
problem.
say something sooner.
Definitely an impressive collection.
They did a 3D earlier, but this is sure another nice candidate for another one.
Yeah, I think there's some in the distance too. It just looks like in this particular area.
Why don't we go ahead and do it? We're waiting for a response, but
Yeah.
let's just go for it if
what's happening?
the team thinks it's possible. Lizzie says yes,
Okay.
should be quick if we'd like, though, because I know she's anxious to get
Okay,
farther
we need
along
lasers
on
off
the-
for that though, right?
Yeah, we need lasers off
Okay.
for 3D model. Just a quick clockwise
Okay.
and counterclockwise would really cover it, and then once over
Okay. You wanna do a
the
jump
top
zoom
each
there,
direction.
Al?
Thanks, Chad.
Thank you.
Help me remember to ask for those back on when we start the transect, for sure,
Right.
those lasers.
Steve, how are you labeling this?
I can call it sponge mosaic. I don't know, how do they label the first one?
Great question. Let's find out.
A small 3D model.
On header Coney sponge at 10:32:07. You and I got there at the same time.
Yep.
And on HiPAC, we have photomosaic_sponge. So we do not have a
No, it's not called a 3D model.
we do not have a consistent naming structure.
No,
Okay.
this is new. It's very cool.
Photo mosaic sponge 2.
Perfect.
Good job, Abby. I see you typing that in. Thank you.
Yeah, I just got to update the time.
(17:27:31). Says large, 3 large header Coney.
Steve, did this also make it in your video log?
I'll put it in the highlights.
Thanks. Wow.
Wow.
This is a great representation of all the different shapes and sizes that glass sponges
Mm-hmm.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of barrier in there. We've got some of that thick plate that we sampled earlier. This big white glass sponge I'm actually not recognizing either.
tell me when we've gone around enough, because I'm not paying attention.
Is that a little sculpin die?
Yes, it is. Tom will be happy to see that. He's the sculpin master of identification.
Hey, Paul, can you come down a little bit?
Yeah. Paul, I'd love to zoom in on Argus right now.
Yeah, you can zoom in on Argus.
Look at how close the vehicle is to what we're shooting.
Just not too much, because I do want to keep the tether in view.
Yeah, for those watching from Nautilus Live, if you look at channel 2, it's a view from Argus up above looking down on Hercules, and how carefully Hercules is circling the cluster of sponges we're looking at. Very delicate operation.
We gone around yet?
Almost.
If we could just make one more pass on the downslope side, because our Herc altitude was at about 1.9 meters. There's a little bit of that sponge on the right side of the image right now, where we got mostly the top, but not the cylinder, if you know what I mean, like kind of the front. If we could lower Herc a little bit and just get that facade.
I'm kind of bouncing along the ground right now. So.
Yeah, no, I see you're really close now, but I know when we were on that other side, we were quite a bit higher.
Okay, so you want to be higher? Or
No, about this level, but
Lower.
keep rotating to the right, because when we were on that right side, we were at about 2 meters in height.
Okay.
So we weren't getting the front of that sponge. We were only getting the top of the cylinder.
Okay.
I mean, we did also just put a wrap in it, so we could swing back around the other way.
Yeah, we're going to have to. We can't just keep circling in the same direction. It becomes a problem here. How far do we got to go?
If you can just go like another 15 degrees. You don't need to go all the way around, because I know it puts wraps in there.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, we're almost there.
Okay.
I need a little tilt up.
Is that going to mess it up? Or?
No, because we can select all the frames that we need out of the video.
Okay.
Thanks, Chad.
All right, that's pretty good.
Okay, so the other way?
Yeah.
How fast can we do this? Can we go quicker? Or?
You can go quicker, yeah.
Okay.
Is the current better here? It seems to be, which is fortunate if it is.
I have a lens flare right now. If we
And
could,
you want a little bit of diversity in the views, so don't, exactly retrace it.
What do you want to do, Al?
it's good. Mild tilt up or down. That's perfect. We're good.
Yeah, it's gone now.
Yeah, it's harder to get around this way. More juice.
Going in on Argus a bit.
Yeah.
Chad, could you?
Current's making it harder to go this way.
Yeah, it's okay to come up a little bit, I think, and get like different angles on it.
All right, it's harder to go this way.
Zooming a touch on Herc. Junk zoom.
Chad, could you tell us a little bit about how you create a 3D model from these images?
Yes.
Good idea.
So we first experimented with it and worked. Obviously, Mbari was a big help. So this will be our first foray into constructing these things by ourselves through the Sanctuary program. But we have a nice playlist. So the idea is we use Hercules, the ROV that you see the image from right now, to rotate around an object, preferably twice in each direction, just so we have complete coverage. If it's a taller object, you might need to do a high pass and a low pass. The idea is to try and get most of the object on some sort of video frame, preferably multiple times. And with that, we can look at the video itself, extract the frame grabs that we want, and it's usually several hundred at least. So it's like taking hundreds of photographs around the object, which would do the same thing.
Wow.
Then software basically looks at all of the images, calculates the angles in which each pixel has been taken a photograph from. So it can kind of reconstruct where the camera was if it has enough information. And then if it has that information, it can basically build a wire model, kind of like the iPhone does it to your face for that kind of facial recognition. When you rotate your face around, you make sure that, you know, the underside of your nose and your chin and all those areas are kind of filled in by the camera. And so once it reconstructs this wireframe, there's a bunch of kind of art to this science as well. It's not just press a button and it just makes it. There's a lot of, you know, invalid points or some noise, maybe some backscatter, some other things that you want to throw out and only keep the best photos. But in the end, it can then take that wireframe, which is like a skeleton mesh of the image, and then actually wrap all of the images over it. So you get a photorealistic three-dimensional model. And the process is called structure from motion. So we're doing motion is revolving around the object, and then they build a structure from that motion. And so we've done that with, for our sanctuary, we did it with a 15, 16-foot long whale fall last year, and that's up on sketchfab.com. You can actually search for whale fall, and it'll pop up. It's pretty remarkable how it works. And then this previous cruise, we were able to get a second scan of the same whale fall, but 12 months later, and it looks strikingly different. And so we're going to be able to have both models and compare them, not just subjectively, but we'll be able to do some area and volume calculations to kind of see how much of the whale has changed in terms of how much it's moved, how much tissue it's lost, etc.
Was that good?
Yeah, I think it's good, Bob.
Is back out.
Okay.
Chad, did you need an over the top?
We had a pretty high pass, so I think we're sufficient. If it doesn't hurt to go over the top once and kind of look down, but the first pass was high, so I think we have most of that.
All right, Bob, junk zoom.
And that whale fall photo mosaic is now linked on the Nautilus Live website as well.
Great.
Yeah.
I love it if we could get to the point with 3D printers that we could actually put these into a 3D print file and print little tchotchkes and necklaces and keychains.
Oh, we definitely can.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot of fun.
I'd wear that.
In my university, there's a lot of coral reef imaging like this, and so they have like a huge FDM printer that they built themselves and are printing, you know, kind of 1 square meter size chunks of reef.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, it's hard because if you want to print them small, you really don't have that kind of resolution. But yeah, I could see like printing out kind of larger scenes.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
A lot of the resin 3D printers, like SLA printers, would be able to print features like this with kind of porous, complex geometry. FDM, something like this would be a real challenge. But
this is really cool. I'm on Sketchfab right now and just doing a quick search for whale fall brings up that the octopus garden model straight away. It's really amazing.
Yeah, we have the whale fall, and then we have the octopus garden as well, which is not three-dimensional in terms of a structure that you rotate all the way around. It's kind of more like a pocket, kind of two walls and a floor meeting, but you kind of get a sense of the structure of where the octopus are in the different warm water vents and seeps there.
Going a bit on Argus.
There's a great view in Argus right now to see the scale of this colony.
Yeah.
It's almost the width of the porch.
Wow. Interesting how that little sculpin has changed colors in the sense that it's faded more. Well, it was the last pass we went around. Fishes often do that. They can, and the rockfishes in particular as well as sculpins, they can sort of fade their colors, which to blend in with their surroundings.
It's a really tall vase sponge behind top left.
I see that, yeah.
Yeah, that looks like what we call a kind of the classic boot sponge, Rhabdicaliptus dorsoni.
Okay, we
Yeah, we're good.
good. Okay.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah. We now
We gotta
got
take
the
a
rat
out.
back in it, yeah.
Just come
Okay.
up and do it.
Can we come wide on
Fantastic.
Argus? Thank you.
So science, once the ROV team sorts out the tether, do we want to continue to waypoint AD?
Yes, we do. And when we're that 100 meters away from the last one, we'd like to start another transect, please.
Roger. We're actually at 98 meters right now.
Okay, well, when you're ready, I think it's fine to start. And
Roger.
we do have the lasers on. Let's get the lasers on, make sure those are on as we start the
Yeah.
transect. Please. Thank you.
So one question for you. We are about 100 meters off of waypoint AD. So would you like to do a 100 meter transect or a 200 meter transect that bypasses AD?
So we're also going to be heading north, Bob, like roughly.
All right.
Let me check in with Lizzie. Hang on. I have to type. Let's see if Lizzie's listening and what she'd like to do, because this is her dive, of course, that she has planned. She says going past AD is fine, so we're good to go.
Roger.
Thanks, Lizzie.
And go past AD on the way to AD2.
Yes,
Perfect.
correct.
Alrighty.
What's our bearing?
We're gonna do 346.
346.
Bridge nav.
Okay, moving on.
200 meters, bearing 346. And this will be heading a little upslope. Or we might go downslope a little bit and then upslope. Ship move is underway.
Roger. How are we doing on
We're going to zoom out all the way for that.
Okay.
Good?
That looks good, right? Junk zoom.
Don't zoom. All the way out.
No, junk zoom. Junk.
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 Junk zoom done.
Transect 8.
Here we go.
I don't know what that black and white stripiness is. That's just part of the rock. The lower left, we just passed over it.
Yeah, I was wondering if it might be patches of encrusting sponge. Not sure though. It's definitely, well, it's showing up on the undersides or the kind of overhanging surfaces of those rocks. So it could just be what the rock looks like when it's not covered in sediment, but it could also be that there's some kind of encrusting invertebrate that's taken advantage of those sediment-free surfaces.
Mm-hmm.
What happened there? Huh. Oh, we got a DC ground fault on the Herc. All right, stand by. We got a problem.
Roger.
Here.
Bridge nav.
Okay, let's stop the transect then. Record the time, please.
Hold position.
Oh, just cleared.
Oh, it went away.
Yeah, I think we actually got a reset there.
Is that a pause or are we abandoning?
Yeah, we just had a topside reset. And we lost our wrap counter. Yeah. Okay. I think we're gonna have to get reorganized here.
Okay.
That was our computer crashed, is what happened.
I'm getting off comms just for a second.
Me too. I'm going to pause for station identification.
So I think our 6-8 wraps were kind of more aligned with the ship. And our 0, we didn't have any.
So I had taken them out, right? Pretty much.
Yeah,
We should
so
have a half a wrap.
we have half a wrap between on the tether, and then
So we're close then.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So for logging purposes, shoreside, do you want to call that a pause to the transect, or you want to abandon it and start a new one?
Di said she was going off comms. I suspect we might just start again because it was fairly close to the beginning, but
Yep.
I'll let Di confirm that.
All right, we'll call it a pause for now.
So I can match to the heading of the ship and 0 the 6-8. I guess it's close anyways, but.
Yeah, you could do that. That would be reasonable.
Oh, it's still actually, yeah, no. I think that's okay.
We didn't,
so,
I mean, it came back up pretty quick, and I don't think there was any spin. So.
Yeah, I think that's okay. So it's just the half wrap in the tether.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and note that in your, on the pre-dive sheet, because they're not, right?
Hmm?
You're noting that?
What was that?
Are you writing it down? That we
Yeah.
had that? Okay. I think I'm good again.
You're good?
Yeah.
Shore side, do we have dieback?
It was 345.
346, but we're waiting on science to decide if we want to stop and restart this transect or continue on.
I think Di will be back very shortly.
Roger.
We had a negative half wrap because I know during the photo mosaic we got to negative 1.5 wraps.
Okay.
So we could get to positive half a wrap and 0 it.
Okay. So I need to go, yeah. Well, it looks right to me, actually, isn't it? And that's 0.3. No, we should, if I come around to being, oh, no, I'm pointing towards Argus.
So Di is back and would like to resume the transect whenever appropriate.
Roger. We are ready to resume.
Okay. I guess, yeah, that makes sense. That's, right?
Yeah.
We didn't really move much
0?
from,
Yeah,
we didn't
0.
really,
Oh.
yeah, we didn't really move much from where we stopped, correct?
0 tether.
Tether wraps.
That's correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We'll
So we
say
can
that's
just
good.
resume.
Yeah, we're probably 2 meters off.
Cool.
Roger. You good to go, Bob?
Yeah.
Okay. Bridge nav. Stand by, bridge.
Then we can just record the
Bridge
time
nav.
we're resuming.
170 meters, bearing 346.
I hope you're not hearing my cat in the background.
We are. It's wonderful.
Sorry.
No one was saying anything.
Just listening.
Oh,
That's
great.
Daphne.
Sounded like, zoom in,
Hello,
zoom
Daphne.
in.
right, ship move underway.
Roger.
So shoreside, we had gone about 30 meters when we stopped, so we've still got 170 meters to go.
Okay.
And that radius circle is back up on HYPACK, so you can see our progress.
Thanks.
Take just a bit for the ship to get moving and Argus to get moving.
Every ship needs a cat.
All right, here we go. Engage.
I'm going to mute it.
Seeing a nice variety of sponges still moving through the sponge garden. Could be a rhabdicaulyptus coming up, the big one that's very sedimented on the outer surface, but totally clean on its inside surface. Mycale growing in a stalked form. You see two little attachment points.
We are at 527 meters depth, which is, I was going to look up some conversions for some of the folks at home that are not as familiar with the metric system, but that requires more typing.
We'll allow it.
So Google it. We're at 528 meters, and the temperature here is 6.3 degrees centigrade, which is cold. And all of that sort of information is being recorded on instruments on Hercules as we go along. So we have exact measurements of temperature, the depth, the salinity, the oxygen in this environment, so we can learn more about the environment that these animals live in.
And it sounds cold to us, but 7 degrees is optimal for some of these glass sponges. Actually, if it gets much warmer than that, yeah, if it gets much warmer than that, they do not like it. They don't survive. I think about 12 degrees is possibly as warm as they can get.
Wow. I think that's a deep sea sole we're going over. Doesn't look quite round enough, but my video skipped a bit. Now we're on completely soft sediment. Is that right?
Yeah,
that's correct.
I just saw rocks a moment ago.
So it looks like on HYPACK we're kind of coming out. I'll zoom out a little bit. We're coming downslope off a little knoll, and we're gonna what looks like to be perhaps a flatter section, and then we'll be heading back up this next knoll on the way to AD2.
Okay.
But the way the contour lines
Yes.
fan out here, it definitely looks like we're in more of a shallow or a flatter stretch.
Yeah.
Apparently we just missed a flapjack octopus. So hopefully people at home were better at us at spotting that. I know they certainly were on the science chat.
It's really helpful to have the science, and we've got many eyes on this video. So, and we're hearing from some people as Abby and I look away to type something in our data logs and such. People on the chat line, scientists on the chat line are typing in things they're seeing as well. So, and then of course the crew on the ship. So we've got lots of eyes on this. And all sorts of expertise out there.
And of course, on the YouTube channel, you can, I think, wind back and see the past 12 hours. So you can always go back and get highlights from that, which is fantastic.
Oh yeah, that's great to mention too. I haven't had time to do that yet, but I hope to in the near future.
Yeah, I find it great for going back and getting screen grabs of samples on different watches. So we are seeing a lot of urchins here. I feel quite guilty that we put the rock in with the urchins because I really don't want those samples to be spoiled for Taylor Ann. So we could perhaps collect some extras for her when we're not on transect.
Well, is it? No, it's just you have the bridge selected. Oh. Well, if I turn bridge off, I don't hear it. Yeah. But I turn bridge off, I can't hear it.
Is bridge force talking you? Probably force talking you.
It adds a little ambiance.
Lizzie Duncan, who's with the Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuary, is on the science chat, and she planned this dive by studying seafloor maps, and she said she is expecting that we may see more hard bottom as we start to climb again. We're going down into a slight depression on the seafloor, and then we'll start climbing back up again.
Seeing a little grenadier and some of these fragile pink urchins feeding on kelp.
Yeah. That is Thorny Head off to the left. There's a flatfish. Yeah, it looks like a Dover sole right next to the sea pen.
And shoreside, we're just passing over the waypoint AD.
Okay, thank you. Coming into some more little rocks and cobbles.
So I've just been having a look at maps of some of those 2011 surveys, and I think for the AUV we did a few deep dives in the sort of 300 to 400 meter zone, but only one, by the look of it, was deeper than 400 meters. So we are in unfamiliar territory. So it's really great to see these habitats and to find these sponge gardens down here.
Yeah.
So we are starting to head up the slope of this next knoll.
Okay,
Yeah,
it looks that way, yeah.
It seems to be getting progressively steeper here.
Yeah.
Great, and rockier.
Lovely brasingids.
$60 meters left on this transect.
Okay. Yeah, it's nice that we've crossed over a nice variety of habitat before type. Soft sediment, getting more into rocks here. Although it'd be nice to see more critters. But that's part of the characterization of these areas, is to not just focus on the places where there's lots of critters, but to also sample the areas where there aren't, in order to hopefully try to characterize the true nature of the feature and capture all its variety. The hagfish. My video is skipping quite a bit, so I'm not sure if I'm keeping up with where we're actually at, but so if my remarks are off, you know why.
Yep. Oh, so Lizzie's just commenting on the science chat that we do actually have some plans to do some dives deeper on Footprint Reef itself. It's a site between Footprint and Piggy Bank. I think that might be my favorite name for an offshore bank.
Yeah.
Piggy Bank is deeper than the Footprint, so the top of that bank is, you have a different complement of species to the top of Footprint.
Yeah.
Fewer rockfish. Yeah. Well, fewer rockfish species, I should say.
And when you look down on it from on a map, it does resemble a pig. That's why it's called, in part, why it's called Piggy Bank, which is, I think, a local, you know, what we have named it. I don't think it has an official name.
Well, it's what I'm writing it as in the tech memo, Di. So it's.
Everyone knows. Those of us doing work in the area know which bank is Piggy Bank, so it might as well be official.
Mm.
So even though more hard substrate here, fewer sponges than we were seeing before. And although here are some kind of interesting, so you wonder, you know, whether the current and food availability is as abundant right here or not, or more variable, or.
Yep, or if the sediment regime is slightly different, again, that can be related to the currents, or if it's even sort of demographic process, so how the sponges are reproducing and dispersal of their larvae, those could be factors as well.
So my video's frozen up, which, let's see if I can restart.
Do you want me to fill in on the transect sheet, Di?
Have we ended? My comms and the video froze for a while there, so I'm not sure where we're at right now.
No, we are approaching, but we have not ended yet.
Yeah, we're about 20 meters
Oh,
off.
okay. Okay.
Still kind of more cobble boulders, crabs, and a few sponges.
It looks like a little Dover sole, although my video is freezing up, so we may not be it may not be in view anymore.
Different sponges, Morphania.
All right, ship move is complete, and we have completed our transect.
Thank you. Shall we, so Abby, then we decide whether we want to explore around and look for something, or we want to keep going. We might want to keep going since we're not seeing a whole lot here, unless something's jumped out at you.
No, I think keep going is a good idea. I know that we're pretty full up on sponges, and